Well, this week we're headed to Alaska with Scott McCrae on a hunt that I've been waiting for a lifetime to do. This is going to be the Alaska moose, the giant moose that roam that landscape up there. That's him right there. Unbelievable.
The Edge is brought to you by Old Smokes Coffee Roastery and Cafe, Browning, G5 Outdoors, Prime Archery, Stealth Cam, Outdoor Edge, High Mountain Seasonings, Hornady, Canac Industrial Services, Portable Winch Co., Vortex, Wolverine Guns and Tackle.
Well, first impressions of camp here. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at this around me. Pretty awesome country. Hopefully filled with moose and bear. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. It's hard for me to look up there at those mountains and not think that we should be going sheep hunting too. We'll save that for next time.
I guess the thing I like most about guiding is just the adventure. You know, just the places you get to go and the things you get to do and the multiple places you get to go see. You know, you go to a lot of the same spots, but you get to explore new things every time. I think I met Steve at SHOT Show. I met him there, and I think I've known him for 4 or 5 years now. This was my first time doing a hunt with him. I regret every minute. You know, it's something I'll always never forget.
Well, the morning of day one, and exciting morning, just out of the tent, and seeing a wolf, which isn't super uncommon, but...
And then there's another huge black bear over here. All morning long, I've been trying to find this bull. He's talking over here, and I cannot find him, but he's calling all morning long. He's in the bottom somewhere. I just can't find him.
Yeah.
You just hear him talking to his family, and I cannot pick him out.
They're to the right of the creek.
We just climbed over a couple ridges. Let me show them to you back there. It's kind of, if you see that big one in the back, it's bald. That's kind of where we went. And it wasn't too bad. It's taken us about 4.5 hours. Saw some small bulls, some cows, and a couple of black bear, but that's about it. We've relocated. It is day 3. And we might as well be sheep hunting now. We're way up here. But the good news is, we got a lot more ground to look at with the glass. We'll be hunting down on them for sure. At least locating them. Now getting the moose out of there, that's a whole other ball game. With a quick glance flying in, probably looks like we'd have to bring meat to the river, which is okay too. But either way, new spot, one downside, I've got to wait, I don't know, 12 hours or something like that. I'll have to ask Scott before we can hunt again, but it's okay. We'll get organized, we'll get set. We got lots of time left. We'll go from there.
They lightened up their stuff.
Yeah, you know, for me, I mean, always coming up here to Alaska to hunt these giant moose up here has always been a dream of mine. You know, as a young boy, some of my earliest recollections of hunting and hunting with my dad, you know, who's my hero, it was always the moose hunt. You know, I can remember being too young to go on the moose hunt and crying at the end of the driveway as my dad and his buddies leave, you know, for a 2-week-long moose hunt. And him telling me, you know, hey, you're too little to come. And then the day finally came where, you know, I wasn't too little. And he said, you know, you're coming with us on the moose hunt this year. And how excited I was. And 669. I mean, just everything about it. I mean, it was almost like I was becoming a man, even though I was, you know, such a young boy. You see him still, though?
He's right in there.
I see his paddle. Gorgeous moose. We've got like 3 picked out. He's the one where his pants turn into his palms. We're guessing he's probably 60 inches. The one that's way up on this hill, like 3 miles from here. He's got a lot narrower pants, but he's super wide, maybe like pushing 70 inches, but narrow pants and long points. But at this point, we get either one of them in tight to where I can stick an arrow in one. It's gonna happen.
You know, typically, let's say on a moose hunt, we prefer to use the higher points to land and make camp so that we have a little bit of height advantage to look down into where the bulls tend to be, rather than walling around in the bottom or doing a bunch of floating for the bulls. You just feel like you're a little more command up there, and then you can pursue at that point. Most of the landing strips are on the tops of the ridges, whatnot, where you can actually access that. So it just helps out a little bit where you're not down in the bottom in the muck and trying to climb high just to get a look around. You're already there. And sheep is you know, basically the same way, but typically you're landing in a riverbed farther up in the mountains. You know, during the moose hunt, it's lower altitude and more rolling hills and whatnot. So down by the creeks and ponds. Sheep is a lot higher, so we're landing on, you know, tiny airstrips, you know, gravel beds on the river, stuff like that, and some hillsides at that point. So.
Well, Scott McCrae, for me, I met him probably 5 years ago at one of the shows. I think it might have been SHOT Show, or Ryan, a friend of mine, and his buddy went on a Dall sheep hunt with him up here in Alaska. And I remember hearing all the tales and how awesome Scott was, and the equipment that he used, you know, was far beyond anything that we knew of. And it was just this whole Alaska intrigue. And then when you meet Scott, and he's got his chiseled jawline and his mountain man beard, and you know, he's everything that I think about when I think about going, you know, with an outfitter or a guide up in Alaska. He's a real meal deal. And you know, over the last, like I said, 5 years, getting to know him, getting to talk to him, a little bit about his areas that he hunts in, each year finding out how the hunts went. He's just one of those guys. He's a get it done kind of guy. And you know, for me doing what I do in the position that I am, those are the people I wanna saddle up against. I wanna tag along on their adventures. I mean, we're in Alaska, we're in the high country, and you know, just as I thought, Scott McCrae, we're getting it done. All right, well, it's our 4th day here, I think, in Alaska, maybe 5th, I'm losing track. But we got a pretty good bull spotted way down in the bottom. But he was over here, right?
He came out right there and was speeding this way. Or walking that way.
And there's a big, what we're calling the moose pond. And last night it attracted probably 3 or 4 different bulls. So we're gonna head down there for the evening and see if we can't get something interested in the call to come a little closer. Revved up, this will be my first stalk, I guess, really, since we got here, so I'm excited. That's the big guy?
Right there, walking?
Yeah.
No, I think that's that skinny bull that's been walking around the lake.
Well, morning of day 6, and last night's attempt to get down off this mountain and over to where those bulls were down in the moose pond was an epic failure. By the time we got down there, everything was long gone. I picked them up again here in the spotting scope this morning. Basically what we're doing right now is I'm just putting up a windicator up on this high ridge, kind of just off from where we're camped, because we are about to go down to the lake and do some calling. Hopefully these bulls will come to that lake. We really want to kill them at the lake, because if we go up and try to kill them where they're at right now, where they're bedded, it basically doubles the pack out, and it's already a monster pack out.
You say you went over there and got on the ridge?
Yeah.
See that lighter green colored stuff in the red?
Yeah.
That's all 12 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'd have to stay above that on the ridge. So this here will not only give me an indication when we're down in the bottom where camp is, it'll give me an idea what the wind's doing up here versus down there, because when I get down there, you know, I'll snoop the wind and see if it's actually blowing in an opposite direction or it's typically the same. And then, you know, we'll know tomorrow when we get up, you know, what's kind of what's going on with the wind and which way to approach the situation down below. But there are 2 definite dream bulls down there that I want to kill. Tall tines, great big wide, a little bit thinner on the pans, but great big long points. And then Old Heavy. And Old Heavy's got shorter pans, but he's just awesome. He's just an awesome old bull. Anyway, come to Alaska, there's moose everywhere. Don't expect an easy hunt, because if you end up in a spot like we are right now, quality moose down below us, but one hell of a hunt. Okay, well, we just made it down to the pond. It is 1:30 in the afternoon, and it's hot, so we're banking on the heat driving the moose to this pond. But if nothing else, tonight we'll do some calls. Okay, well, the end of night 7, and we are way down in the bottom. Just sat it out all day. And in my infinite wisdom, I've decided to just sleep under the stars tonight. Hopefully, that'll pay off. Sunshine Beach in here. They make so much noise. I don't know if this is gonna do. I don't know if this is any good. They're not really coming to the calls as good as we hoped. So it's getting a little bleak for the archery equipment. We might have to dump one with the rifle. And even at that, it's just physically getting to where we need to be. We'll keep on with the glass and see what happens. Hey. Okay. Look. Yeah, that's a pretty good moose. Can't get a shot at him. The 600. 1.3. Oh man. I don't know what it is. This year, everything is like long bombs. It's a pretty unique scenario because we're camped so high. It's almost like we're sheep hunting, but we're spotting down. As you can see out here, it's just filled with moose habitat. And when Scott said he had a pretty good bull spotted over on this side, he actually said, now that we're this far into the game, how big does it have to be? I just said a good one. He said, well, I've got a good one. And sure enough, did. We had him right down here in the bottom. But as we got closer, it was just too far and too steep of an angle for a shot. I had to drop down probably, well, a quarter of the mountain. And by the time we did that, either he saw us or heard us or whatever and scooted out a bit. But there you have it, 676 yards. At 300 short mag with the 200 grain ELDX, that's a lot of gun. Wicked shot. That's gonna be one hell of a haul out of there. What a beast. Oh man, look at that, dude. Is unreal. Look at the fronts on them.
We had got the scope on it. I don't even know, I just knew this side was good. I didn't know that side was that good either, so. He's an older bull, he's coming down.
What a dream come true. Thank you so much, brother. Wow, an Alaskan moose, and I mean, not just any old Alaskan moose. This thing is a beast.
We've harvested them at, 15 yards. With a muzzleloader or, a bow. So, I mean, it can be really close. And, I mean, multiple times it's been under 50.
And the body on this thing, oh my God, we got to get him to the top of the mountain.
I'm glad you said we.
Well, you know when I say we, I mean you.
As a group. So has anybody ever cut one of these up before? This ain't no whitetail.
That is no whitetail. Well, there you have it, folks. Another amazing hunt up here in Alaska with Scott McCrae. I mean, I can't thank him enough. Just an outstanding gentleman, guide and outfitter. And I tell you what, he's got some moose. I mean, we literally looked at giant moose after giant moose. When we found this guy, he came out and Scott was able to stop him with a cow call. It was kind of one of those now or never moments. And yeah, we had to make a long rifle shot on him, but we piled him up and I couldn't be more thrilled. I mean, you know, 25 years, 30 years of dreaming of coming to Alaska to hunt one of these big giant moose that roam this landscape. And I'm just thrilled. I mean, just a big old bruiser of a moose, beautiful pans, great fronts, and by the looks of it, some tasty backstraps. So thanks for tuning into this week's episode of The Edge. I'm your host, Steve Ecklund, up here in Alaska with good friend, Scott McCrae.
The Edge is brought to you by Old Smokes Coffee Roastery and Cafe, Browning, G5 Outdoors, Prime Archery, Stealth Cam, Outdoor Edge, High Mountain Seasonings, Hornady, Canac Industrial Services, Portable Winch Co., Vortex, Wolverine Guns and Tackle.
Live on the